Harley Quinn #1, written by Amanda Connor and Jimmy Palmiotti, art by Chad Hardin. So this is #1, but there was a zero issue that basically is skippable, save for the fact that Harley was told that she was left a property in Coney Island as a dying gift from a Arkham Asylum patient that she treated. So we open up this issue with her having all of her stuff packed, like a ridiculously huge amount of stuff, driving on a motorcycle to Coney Island. And she also has this little stuffed beaver on the hood of her motorcycle, like the front, that talks to her and it just keeps on complaining constantly. Just know that that's going on. So as she stops at a crosswalk, she sees this hipster-looking guy who is dragging along a dachshund. And the dachshund looks up at Harley with these sad eyes, and Harley looks back, sheds a tear, and then goes nuclear. So she pulls out a whip. She cuts the leash off of the dachshund and then wraps the whip around the hipster guy's throat, and then continues driving with the hipster guy being like carried behind her, and she's got the wiener dog up on her bike. So yeah, now she's just got a dog as well. So as she's making her way over a bridge, I can't honestly tell you which New York bridge it is, all of a sudden this biker guy holds up a wanted poster with Harley's face on it and says, oh, there she is. So he gives chase after her, pulls out a gun. Harley notices it before he pulls the shot. She throws on the brakes real quick, which causes just a huge pileup of cars all around her, and all of her stuff goes flying off the back of her bike out into the road ahead of them. So that causes the biker who was attacking her to fall off his bike. Harley goes digging through her stuff and pulls out her giant mallet, tells her dog to stay, and then makes her way over to the guy. And he's just like, hey, I don't know why you were trying to kill me, and frankly, I don't care, because you just ruined my moving day. How dare you? And so she uses her mallet to smash the guy's hand, smash the guy's knee, smash the guy's nuts, and then as she says any last words, he says, don't. And she's like, those were lame last words. And then she punts the guy's head off of the bridge. So later on, she makes her way to Coney Island that night. She arrives with significantly less of her stuff, and she arrives at essentially, it's a freak show. Like, actually, it has that in big line on the side saying freak show. It also says it's Madame Macabre's House of Wax and Murder. So Harley's like, oh yeah, this is the jackpot. So she starts making her way inside. She meets one of the guys who lives there named Big Tony. He is of shorter stature, and she is welcomed in by him. And then the lawyer from the last issue who said, hey, meet me in Coney Island tomorrow to pick up your things, he starts giving the tour and says the first floor is commercial. It has like the House of Wax and the freak show thing going on. The second floor has 8 apartments, and basically all of the tenants in them are members of the freak show, so they're able to have their rent deducted from pay and whatnot. We get introduced to a few other members there. There's a goat man. There is a larger woman who is apparently dating Big Tony. Her name is Queenie. We go up to the 3rd floor, which is apparently relegated to basically just storage. And then we go up to the 4th floor, which is Harley's floor. She can use the entire floor however she sees fit. She lives there. There's also an elevator that goes down to the garden because why not? And then we get up and see the roof where it's also open to whatever Harley wants to use it for. So at that point, she's like, oh man, this is great. Everything's perfect. But what's the catch? And the lawyer says, no catch. Everything's cool. However, you are responsible for all of the back taxes, real estate taxes, insurance, and upkeep for the building, which all in all comes out to be about $6,000 a month if you don't take into account the tenants paying rent and all that. Like, this is on top of that. And he's like, all right, so are you able to keep up with that? Do you have a job? And she's like, yes, sure. And he's like, great, here you go. Bye. So at that point, she is trying to figure out what to do. Gets to be the next morning. Big Tony shows up and gives her a newspaper, a marker to circle some help wanted ads, and a large coffee. And decides to just sit on a bench and enjoy some time with her. And then we see somebody has a sniper rifle across the way and is aiming it at Harley but can't get a good shot. So next day, She's getting dressed. She's putting on a whole bunch of skin-colored concealer in order to hide that she has bleach white skin. And she has two jobs that she's going out to look for today. So the first one is at a assisted living home where she'll act as a therapist. She's not going to prescribe any medication, but she's going in there pretending that she's Harleen Quinzel. And they basically say, like, well, your resume is very impressive. We'll give you a tour around the facility and we'll let you know by the end of the week. And he's like, oh, fantastic, thank you. And there's specific mention of a wing of this building that is a more dangerous patients. And Harley's like, ooh, that sounds interesting. So then later on that night, she goes to interview number 2, now dressed back as Harley Quinn. And it is for a roller derby, having some auditions. And they basically say, hey, for those of you who don't know what roller derby are, here are the rules. It's a big ring that you roller skate around. One person is designated as the jammer, and you score points based on how many times the jammer can lap all the other members on the opponent's team. Every other person there is just running interference for the jammer, and you are allowed to beat the ever-loving crap out of all the other members. And Harley's like, cool, awesome. And so they put her in the audition, and it's essentially last man standing is the one who gets the gig. So she just goes full brutal, like beating up everyone around and taking them all out. And one of the girls was like, Jesus Christ, Summer is the team captain. It's like, Summer, I don't think she's supposed to be able to do this. And she's like, shush, let's just let her cook. So Harley takes out the entirety of the rest of the auditions. She's immediately hired. And basically it's, all right, if we win, you get a percentage of what's made at the door. If we lose, then you got to buy a round of drinks. So that's it. So it was later that night, she's up on the roof doing some moonbathing. And she's like, all right, so between the two jobs, I should be able to make enough money to continue living here. And she's happy about that. She feels like it's already becoming a new home to her. And as she's relaxing, she's snuck up on by a person with a sword. And as the person with the sword is about to plunge it into Harley, she gets shot from behind. And we see Big Tony's the one providing the cover. So Harley reaches into the person's shirt and pulls out the same wanted poster again. And she was like, oh, geez, someone put a hit on me for $2 million. And Big Tony says, welcome to the neighborhood, Peaches. He says Peaches a lot. All right, first issue of Harley Quinn. What do I think? Because last issue, frankly, it was not a first issue. It was an art show-off. It's basically what I expected. I mean, here's the thing. This Harley series goes big. Like, this is something that, despite the fact that it seems like not a lot of people in the DC universe, like community, care about this book or want this book around, this book sells like a lot. So clearly there's got to be something to it. And I do think that this is a good first intro to it. It lays out, okay, here's all the characters you're going to need. Here's her jobs and such like that. Here's the quirky sort of humor we're looking for. I think it does a good job of setting it up. Whether or not I like it, I will reserve the right to see how the rest of this arc shapes out. I do got to say, none of the humor I found particularly cringy. I think that the jokes it lands might not always be funny, but I don't think that they're unfunny either. I think it's just kind of like, yeah, okay, that's kind of what I expect from Harley. There are a few jokes in here that I do think line up pretty well, though. Her getting the dog scene is one where it's just cutting between her eyes, getting sadder and sadder, showing tears from not only her eyes, but the dog's eyes. Like, all that's great. I think it's a good scene. So all in all, I'm going to give this one, I'll give it a 7.5. I think it's in terms of first outing, in terms of first issue to really drag people in, it's a solid work, and I don't think that there's any shame in that. So 7.5, we'll see what happens with issue 2.